definitely.
these topics here. I got some beef though, man. I'm ugh, sitting here looking at these Jaden Ivey stats right now, and I got beef, bro. I really do. But let me get this going because I'm supposed to go and talk to Mr. Jeff Frady. He's back this week. His first day back, he was wearing that Woodward Pistons shirt. I was very, very ecstatic to see that. I was very happy. I
Repping
think
the
I sent you something
brand.
about that.
Repping the brand. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I
Let's
like to
rock.
see. I like to see that he's repping the brand.
I like that, man. And then gonna go in there and talk to Mr. Baydoun, Mr. Adam Baydoun as well. Trying I got the optimism shades. I got those. I got my Tigers gear too. So we're gonna go in there. We're gonna have a lot to cheer about. Tigers are tearing it up. And Casey's back in the organization. I know Adam can't wait. So we're gonna have fun.
Back like he never left.
We're gonna have some fun, man. We're gonna have some fun. But hey, look, you know what? Let's get this going, man. What up, though, people? It's your boy Brandon Dent, aka Detroit Kool-Aid, and you're rocking out with the Woodward Pistons podcast. As you already heard, Jeff Freddy's on the Morning Woodward show. I will be going to talk to him a little bit later. But first, you guys know what we got to do. So let's get that drum roll going for the legend. Hey, yo! Shout out to the legend, Detroit News, Rod Beard. Brother, welcome, and how you doing?
Hey, it's another Wednesday, man. I'm always doing good on Wednesdays because we get to break bread and
yes,
and to slay the dragons that are out here trying to stir up stuff in the pot. That's not even really there, but that's how we do.
Let's rock, man. So you could call yourself kind of like the ultimate fighting machine today. You see, I got my Cell shirt on from Dragon Ball Z. The real ones will know. But look, I want to start off with this beef, man. Jaden Ivey. We all assumed, hey, he's not going to win Rookie of the Year. It's just not how those things go. And Paolo Banchero, definitely more than deserving. Way more than deserving. So, hey, you know what? I was okay with that. I was fine. No matter how good the stats looked, I was like, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. Jaden Ivey's all right. No matter how good those last 20 games were, the 19.2 points, 6.9 assists, 3.8 rebounds per game, it was okay because he was going to get at least top 3. He was at least going to make the all rookie first team, right? But then no. A few days ago, right? Did you see the 3 finalists?
Yeah, saw the 3 finalists.
Bro, help me out here, man. Should I have beef or no? Let me see here. Paolo Banchero, Jalen Williams of the OKC Thunder, and Walker Kessler of Utah Jazz. Now, I feel like we've been preparing ourselves for this.
Because we already know. We already know what this is.
Talk to me, man.
We already know what this is, and Paolo's going to be there. That's not even so. You're really fighting for 2 spots.
So it's kind of moot, man. Ugh.
Right, it's kind of moot. And if you really look at it, you're fighting for 1 spot because Jalen Williams, because of the OKC story and what he's done, he's going to be there. So you're really looking at 1 spot and whether Walker Kessler belongs there. It's the same thing as happened with Cade. You're not looking at pure stats anymore. You're looking at a story and whether that person helped that team achieve something different. And we know that with the Pistons record, they weren't going to do it. So it's Cade last year. It's Jaden Ivey this year. Can they find a way to keep Vic from winning it with the Pistons next year? We'll just have to find out. But, I mean, that's where we are.
I love it. Hey, with the optimism shades on. I'm here for it, man. But look, it's often funny, man. Pistons Twitter, you're right. You've given Pistons Twitter their flowers all season long, and they don't miss, bro. They don't miss. Look, they tried to tweet something, man. Shout out the basketball index at @B_B_index on Twitter. They posted Jaden Ivey's case for Rookie of the Year. Ivey was sensational as a playmaker this year. When Cade went down early in the season, Ivey responded by posting the 4th best passing creation quality of any rookie in the last decade. The graph below compares to the last 10 years of rookie seasons. And they did something like this as well, right? For Paolo Banchero, supposedly, hey, this is why he should win Rookie of the Year. And what did it prove? Why Cade should have won it last year. I was looking at the graph, and Pistons Twitter was blowing up. I was like, what are they looking at? And on the graph, you see a bunch of these players in their rookie seasons kind of plotted together. Jaden Ivey, he's up there. Trae Young, he's up there with Josh Giddey and Luka Doncic. It's like, oh, all right, Jaden Ivey. John Moran is just a little bit better than those guys. Who's a little bit better than them? Who you think? Cade Cunningham. This guy didn't win Rookie of the Year. So it's like, you know what? I'm glad that we kind of prepared ourselves for this. I really am. Because I'm looking at this. I'm looking at all their grades for him. And it's just like, yo, Jaden Ivey really, really, really had a good season. B-Ball Index has his key talent metric grades. 3-point shooting, A-, finishing, A-, playmaking, A+, offensive rebounding, C+, defensive rebounding, B-, offensive impact, though. This was weird to me, D-. And I wondered if that had something to do more or less with how the team was winning or not winning. And I want to get a little bit more into their metrics, and I will in some later episodes. But they kind of went all in on why Ivy should have gotten this thing. And Crange's Mick Basketball at Tim_NBA, he said Ivy ranked first among all rookies in total offensive load, ahead of Paolo Banchero. No offensive rookie carried the burden he did on offense. Nearly across the board, his advanced passing data is a few steps up from Banchero's as well. The overall shot making graded out equal as well. So look, I get it. The Rookie of the Year might be lost. We got to seriously sweat about the first team all rookie. I'm starting to now realize, like, yo, he might really get pushed to second. I hope it doesn't happen that way, but I'm not going to be surprised if they're like, hey, Mathurin is going to get the last spot. I think Pistons Twitter is going to absolutely riot and lose it, man. But Rod, I'm glad at least, though, that some of these basketball minds out here are seeing the proof in the pudding with Jaden Ivey, that this is not about the Rookie of the Year. This is about the fact that this guy proved that he was probably worth a whole lot more than the number 5 pick. And if it wasn't for somebody like Apollo Banchero, we might be sitting here saying that Jaden Ivey is an unquestioned best player from this draft. You know, he had a heck of a season, man. I wanted to profile the different players as we came to the come to the off season. And I guess Jaden Ivey is kind of this first one up for me. What are your thoughts on at least what Cranges, McBasketball was saying and B-Ball Index? Can you hear me? I can't hear you right now. Sounds like the mic dropped out a little. But yeah, it was interesting for me, man.
You got me now?
I got you now.
All right, let me rain on the parade a little bit.
Oh,
because and this is the reality of it, and I think we've talked about this before. Yep. Who votes on all of these awards? Media.
People who are not looking at the Pistons.
There you go. So it's the media, it's the beat writers who may have varying degrees of sort of care factor in this thing. And I've said it before, when I was doing it, and these ballots are due, I think, right near the end of the regular season. So if you're following a team that's not going to the playoffs, you have a little bit more time on your hands to kind of dig into stats to figure it out. If you're following a team, if you're following Milwaukee or Phoenix or Golden State or something, do you have time to dig into the stats and say, on my ballot, I'm going to parse Walker Kessler and Jaden Ivey? No, you don't.
Bro, I'll be fair with you. I didn't have the time to dig into the stats that Jaden Ivey put up. I'm glad someone else did. So, you know what I mean? And we watch him. We cover him. We see what he's doing. So I get you on that. I totally get you on that. I totally get you. I'm glad.
Right. So there's
preparing me.
Right. So it's the same thing when we look at any of these awards, is that the media votes on it. And I think the TV personalities do. So your TNT guys might have a vote. You think they're digging into advanced stats, to looking at Cranges and saying, okay, here's the difference? No, they're looking at names and they're looking at stories. So all of these awards are kind of built on the season. And if you get your name out, so it's like anybody running for student council at your high school. You have to build a brand for yourself and make yourself known to the national media and not just national media, but the beat writers to say, and where do they get a lot of their information? From Sports Center, from highlights, from everything else. So you could have these bomb stats, but if people don't know who you are and you don't have a story, the Jalen Williams thing is OKC made the playoffs. They were terrible last year. They did it without their top pick this year, and they still managed to turn things around. This is the prototype of a rebuild that you like to see, and they did it with Shea. So how is Shea going to get first team All NBA? Because of the story. That's how this is all going to work. So Jaden Ivey is buried in all of this other stuff behind these other. So Walker Kessler is. How does he get it with Utah? Well, because Utah had a good start to the season and he got his name on people's minds. So that's how that was able to kind of marinate and be there. Jaden Ivey, without Cade, they're near the bottom of the standings for the entire year. So you get forgotten about, even though you're a top 5 pick. So think of where we were last year this time. And we were talking about Jabari Smith, or you were talking about Jabari Smith. We were just kind of chiming in. But how does Jabari Smith get forgotten? Have you heard anything about Jabari Smith all year?
I almost thought he was a bum. And you look up his stats, like, oh, he's not a bum.
He's not a bum, but where is he? In Houston, where they have the second worst record or third worst record in the league. So all of that stuff plays into it. What's the story in Houston? Their coach is out. Stephen Silas is out. And Pistons coach is out. So it's the same sort of thing that just kind of gets lumped into something else. Is these are teams we care about. These are teams that we don't. And until you win, like OKC, we're not going to care. So give us a reason to think about you and give us a reason to care. So he may not get first team all rookie. But Pistons people, just save up that energy because Vic is going to get first team all rookie and rookie of the year next year. And you can save it off of that.
Let's go. I love that talk, Rod. It's cheered me up again. I'm back to Detroit Kool-Aid, man. Let's rock. Because you're right. What the stats prove, just like we know with Cade Cunningham, is that Ivy is a baller. We used this word a lot last year. Cade's a hooper. Ivy's a hooper, man. These dudes, their IQ, their ability to answer the questions. Like, who knew that Ivy was really going to come in and not just answer, but obliterate the questions that we had? Can you be a playmaker? Can you shoot? And I want to see where his shooting goes from here. But I know that the shooting numbers aren't things that just completely blow you off the map. But overall, for him to come in and have no semblance of a mid-range game and to now have something like that, to have no semblance of can he be an effective NBA, shooter from behind the arc and then prove that, man, I'm all for it because this proves what he can be next to Cade Cunningham. These were the things that we were wondering, like, can he take the pressure off Cade? Not just in double team situations. Obviously, in double team situations, give it to Jaden Ivey, be a missile and go. But when you're talking about half court basketball, when you're talking about clutch time basketball, what we saw, it was just like Cade Cunningham going crazy at the end of his first year of his rookie year, and doing his thing. Can he get a partner that can also do the same thing? Because it wasn't just that Cade was scoring. It was that Cade was making things go. We call him, the straw that stirs the drink. And in reality, Jaden Ivey proved that he can be somebody. I'm waiting to see what he can be as it relates to moving and pushing this team towards winning. Because I do believe, I don't want to take away from what Cade did. Cade's stats when they went up, and they had Jeremy Grant here. There were some other factors here. The team went on a little bit of a spurt. And that kind of brings me to something else. As we look at this kind of offseason focus or strategy, just, real quick. Pistons, Troy Weaver looks like he's inviting every NBA assistant to the table, man. And I want him to. I said it looks like he's leaving no stone unturned. Like he's going to go out there and make sure that the experience, and I've noticed it's like a lot of playoff assistants too, NBA assistants, that those guys are getting a look. As well as something else that kind of caught my eye with the free agency. I was kind of going through and looking at the restricted free agents and the guys that are coming up on, hitting the market this offseason. And who might pique kind of Troy Weaver's eyes based on what he said is our weaknesses. But something that kind of more or less was kind of getting to me was who are going to be the new veterans? If this team is taking a step forward and it's a potential that Corey Joseph and Rodney Magruder aren't here, And I know that there were some statements about having, veterans similar to, I would say, like a Bojan Bogdanovic, somebody
Mhm.
who's going to be going out there and we can count on this guy to give us a good 20 or a specialist at something or this, that, and the other. And I had a couple names on here, man. And I wanted to kind of just kind of test your mind on it. Patrick Beverly, Draymond Green, Kevin Love. These are all guys that are going to be available at varying prices. As it relates to veterans, do any of these guys make any sense for the Pistons to truly pursue? Because they're building this team really around a nucleus of young guys, which honestly gives them the luxury to kind of go after some of these vets who, like Draymond Green, I believe he's gonna cost. I don't think he's gonna give Detroit Pistons a discount. It just doesn't strike me as that's the type of guy. Like if he's going to LA, he might give LeBron James that discount. If he's coming to Detroit, I think that's a totally different notion. I saw Patrick Beverly somewhere saying he was seeking about 13 to 15 million, but we're talking about a guy who is absolutely ruthless. So I don't know, man. I was kind of looking at this thing. I know Kevin Love, I thought he did a lot for their foundational parts of the Cleveland Cavaliers rebuild. And there were times when he was coming in there and some important games. They were like, all right, go out there and just dot this team for like 5 threes real quick and grab like 10 rebounds. So I didn't know, upgrading these vets, if anybody out there kind of piqued your interest, because there's one guy there that's not necessarily a vet, but I was like, you know what? I wonder what he could be had for, and I wonder if he would make a return here. Who kind of I would probably pay this guy before I pay Patrick Beverly. You know who it is?
Go ahead.
Bruce Brown Jr.
Yee. Uh, hmm.
Would you 13 to 15 million a year for Patrick Beverly? If you were going for somebody to completely improve the defense from the guard position, can give you a little bit from the offensive position. I can't sell you on
Yeah,
Pistons Twitter's favorite.
I I need a lot of offense. I need a lot of offense.
I love it. I
All
don't
right.
know why it lost me, dog. Your face, because I feel like your face represented your exasperation when you just said, It was like there's no hate towards Bruce Brown, but I just need a lot of offense. It's like
I
I
need a
felt
lot
that
of.
in my soul.
You know who you can sell me on?
What'd you say?
You know who you can sell me on?
Who? Let me know.
You can sell me on Jordan Clarkson. I need that kind of offense.
Jordan Clarkson. What do you think?
Just under 13 mil this year, but a vet coming off. I mean, and that is if you end up trading Alec Burks. Or Alec Burks isn't there. He kind of fills that role. But I need a volume scoring, just 3-point shooting machine like a Wayne Ellington. I need that.
Yeah. Where this guy's coming in and it's just
shooter.
buckets.
Just like when we're in the gym and you say shooter over there, when the coach, everybody on the bench says shooter, I need that dude.
Yeah, that guy where everyone just kind of crap.
Yeah, that is sort of Alec Burks to a degree, but I need him to be a little bit more rugged defensively. And I just don't. Looking at the list, I just don't see anybody that jumps out like that for me. That says, yeah, I need to go get that guy. And let me throw another at you. And he's a restricted bird. He had restricted free agent bird rights. Matisse Thybulle. If you could go get that dude, you go get that dude.
I like that one. I like that one. I saw that name. I like that one a lot, actually. I really do. There's a couple
would I pay him like? Would I pay Matisse Thybulle like 8? Maybe 8 is a lot because he is getting, what is Matisse getting? 3.1. You throw 6 his way, he might bite at 6. I can deal with that.
That sounds
You
like
got
a Troy Weaver-esque type of deal. When you look back at some of the deals he's kind of made, that one right there is kind of along the lines of what he's done. It would be cost friendly to the team. It would give him about one of those types of players you could sign for a couple years, kick the tires on. You know what I mean? And he's gonna come in right away and be one of those guys that just kind of works, not one of those guys that you have question marks about. We're not like wondering. Thibault wouldn't be one of those signings where we're like, well, let's see what he still has. Let's give him an opportunity. It's like he'd be coming in and filling a void right now. And if he can do that kind of cost effectively, I believe that it makes it also, if he proves himself to be worth something more valuable, as we always say, on the Pistons roster or as another trade asset for Troy Weaver, because this team is still about the core. It's still about Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren. I saw they mentioned Isaiah Stewart in the core. That's what this is about. If James Wiseman and Bagley and some of these other guys, Killian Hayes, if they're proven they're part of the core, it's about augmenting that top. And so, man, I like that one. I like that. You got me really thinking.
Let me throw 2 more at you.
Yeah.
And this is a true connection. It kind of solves that small forward sort of issue.
Yeah.
And he's 23 in Phoenix. He'll be a restricted free agent. You can kind of don't need to throw a whole bag at him to get him, but that fits that same Troy Weaver mold of a guy who is sitting in Phoenix, may not be getting a true chance. He's backlogged there. He would want to reunite. He would want to have another opportunity to resurrect his career. I like it. I like it. That and you wouldn't have to. He's defensive minded, and you wouldn't have to throw a huge bag at him.
Yeah.
Nikhil Alexander-Walker. That's Darius Bazley.
Darius Bazley. Yep. I was just looking at him. What do you think about TJ Warren?
TJ works too. TJ is a scoring cat that would help you out. Maybe a Torrey Craig or a Rui. If the Lakers situation kind of blows up, that Rui could be out there.
I like Rui. I didn't know what his situation would be. I didn't know why would he leave there to come here. But then I'm like, if they're really looking at a Draymond of things and some other pieces, and Rui is taking the necessary steps forward to command maybe a little bit more money that's a little bit more expensive for the Lakers, does that push him right into the hands of someone like the Pistons? Because that's what we're looking at here. The Pistons, Troy Weaver's positioned them to be in a spot to actually pick up on all those guys. And I forgot, that's a whole nother market. The guys who are taking a step forward, but the team is also trying to take a step forward. They can't afford to go and splash here as well as sign this guy because they're not built like the Pistons. The Pistons can because they got all young guys. They got, Troy Weaver has made this thing to where the guys that they were going to have to start paying, he's like, I'll get them out of here if I have to. You see what I'm saying? And so that's Rui Hachimura, man. I like him as a player. He's one of my son's favorite players. He's black and Japanese. My son is black and Cambodian. So it's somebody that he looks up to. And so we've all sat back and I've like, I'm going to put the personal biases and hopes aside, but I like him as a player. I just do. What's the possibilities? I don't even know what his numbers would be looking like or what he's even asking for this summer, but that wing position that we're talking about filling, I kind of like him.
Yeah, Rui's restricted. He's making 5.1 this year.
5.1?
5.1.
That's going to go up.
But go up to what? Again, it depends on what the Lakers are doing. If the Lakers fizzle out in this series and LeBron says he wants to reconstruct this whole thing, everybody could be on the way out. He could just clean house completely. So can you, for most of these cats in this kind of mid-level, and not mid-level exception, but mid-level of free agents, I just look at it and say, if you offer them double what they're making right now, would that be enough? And for Rui, would you pay 10 for Rui? That's a little bit much. His qualifying offer is 7.7. So let's just call it 9 or 10. Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying for like the vets or that end of the bench, kind of filling out things, not necessarily the splash, just so we make sure we were putting in the context of, do you go after one of these Draymonds, one of these Patrick Beverleys, Kevin Loves, or do we find one of these kind of budget guys down the line who may have room to grow and still kind of fill a hole? Because I want to see the Pistons get a little bit bigger, and not necessarily in the front court, but in the wing position, whether that's somewhere from the 2 to the 4. I want to see them get bigger. Their measurables, longer reach, taller, a little bit more springy or bouncy. I think what does my man Last say? Shout out to Last and the Detroit Bad Boys podcast, or whatever they're calling it now. He calls it team super jumpy or something like that. I apologize if I got it wrong. But yeah, like I want to see kind of more of those types of guys on the roster, as well as, like you said, offense. I know that the defense was atrocious, but I feel like you can augment that effectively. And sometimes a great offense, a great shooting offense, hey, you know what? It can be a defense sometimes. As well, as long as these guys at the top, I believe Cade Cunningham's defense was definitely missing this year. Well, he was a factor. You can't sit here and say that a guy at 6'7" defending the backcourt is not a factor. He was a factor this year. And he allows your team to be able to play a much bigger and longer and more versatile lineup on the defensive side of things. And so, I don't know. I'm kind of with you on this one. I was first leaning heavily defense, but then I just thought about it. Yeah, you're right. They'll stop teams. And then, they'll have an opportunity to stop teams, but are they going to score? And we've seen them hang with teams for a little bit, but then break. And that's the difference in the game, more so than even their defense. We can say, wow, they held the team to, like, in today's NBA, 105 points, or 110 points, but they couldn't score themselves. And it's just like,
let me give you two more that I like. One is a wish. You wish you could get Grant Williams.
Yes.
But
yes,
you're probably not. And I already said Darius Bazley, but PJ Washington from the Hornets is another one I would love to get. I like anytime the Pistons play him, he eats. He just a napkin around his neck and fork and knife and just eats every time.
Just eats.
That's
eats.
We've talked about Cam Reddish before as an option there. Cam Johnson isn't going to play that defense for you, but that man can shoot. But PJ Washington, Grant Williams, and Darius Bazley. I like Darius Bazley. I just think he needs the right position. And you can tell that Troy liked him coming out of the draft. That's why OKC picked him. But yeah, I mean, those are some names that I would try to keep an eye on at that. If they solve that through free agency, and it may not matter because once you get Vic, you don't need any of these cats. It's not going to matter. Vic, you can turn all the settings off. He's playing 47 minutes. You give him a minute to rest and 30 seconds in the first half, 30 seconds in the second half. And
I mean,
let that man go.
Goodness gracious, just let him do it. I feel so bad for the new coach coming in. All these minutes he's gonna have to stagger. All of these minutes because Troy's gonna get that. I just feel it in my gut. He's gonna get that extra first round pick. Like, why is he doing this to the next head coach? Give him all this talent, all this young talent, all of this cap space and this hope.
But see, that's part of this conversation. I don't think this is the draft that you go in and get another pick. I think you save those roster spots for vets. Ooh, I think this is where you start.
Spicy. I like this
because this is the year. This is the year that you have to really show something, and you don't have the luxury to have young guys who either aren't playing or aren't contributing as much. So I think you go out in free agency and you use that money wisely to get those types of players that we talked about. Could a Darius Bazley help in and help or step in and help immediately? Yep. Could PJ Washington? You could play him at the 3 a little bit more, but would he help immediately? Yeah. That you need those. You need to make an OKC type jump this year. And OKC is going to be nasty next year when Chet is, if he comes back and he's anything like he needs to be. But that's your template for what you want to do this year is what they were able to do.
I think that's the word. That's the word right there. That's the word. Look, I think I'm gonna shut it down right there then. Rod, man, you preaching today, man. Bringing the fire. bringing the optimism.
Hey, you see,
helping to light the way forward. Shout out to the Tigers too.
hey man, don't get excited about that. Don't get excited about that yet. We've seen this movie before. This is me yelling at the movie screen. Don't do it. Don't
do
there.
it.
Don't be excited about the Tigers yet. You can't do it. It's 7-9. Let them get above 500. So I talked to my son about this, and he was like, "Hey, Dad, you know the Tigers are 7-9." I said, "Yeah, you got to get above 500." He said they're going to be the Utah Jazz. They're going to have a nice start to the season, and then just fizzle out and just die toward the end of the season. I said, "Come, at least you know. At least he knows.
He knows.
He knows. He's a baseball head, so he knows all this. He's like, they're going to be the Utah Jazz." And I said, I can't even argue. I can't even argue with you.
Oh man, yo, that's awesome. That's awesome. Rod, as always, thank you, brother. Let me wrap up here. Thank you guys for rocking out with the Woodward Pistons podcast. Definitely in the comments, put below who are some of your sleepers for free agency that kind of fit that wing position. Who are some of the guys that you're looking at? Do you agree with some of the guys Rod talked about, some of the ones I talked about, and what vets are you actually looking for? Put those down in the comments. It's your boy, Brandon Dent, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid. I appreciate you all for being here. For Jeff I. Freddie, I'm about to actually go talk to him in a little bit. Let's get this drum roll going for the legend. Hey, yo! Shout out and thank you to the legend, Detroit News, Rod Beard. Brother, I appreciate you as always.
Anytime, man.
Thank you. All right, you guys. Till next time.